make about 45 million pounds of chips in a quarter. That equates to about 200 million pounds of potatoes, which is quite a few. What's interesting with M&T is they were a small town bank, and as we've grown, they've also grown with us. They've got the resources that you would need in order to go big, but they also have that friendly local community feel so that it makes it seem easier than it probably is.
Hello, and welcome to Candidates Up Front. This program allows the voters to get information directly from the candidates in the May 18th primary election. It is a joint project of the League of Women Voters of Berks County and Berks Community Television. Both are nonpartisan organizations. That means they never support candidates, they never oppose candidates, nor do they support or oppose political parties. Today, our featured race is Judge of the Magisterial District Court. The Magisterial District Judge generally handles traffic violations, landlord-tenant matters, and civil actions where the amount claimed is less than $12,000. The judge presides at arraignments, sets bail, issues warrants, and performs duties of a similar nature. The current salary is $93,338, and magisterial district judges serve a 6-year term. There are 3 candidates running, but only 2 of them are running in both parties. That means Democrats will select one of 3 candidates, and Democrats will select one of 3 candidates, and Republicans will select one of 2 candidates. The candidates, in alphabetical order, are Priscilla Campos, Ryan Cooper, and Peter Rosario. All will be asked the same questions in the same order with the same general time limit. And each candidate's views are their own, not necessarily those of the League or BCTV. Today, our candidate is Ryan Cooper. Welcome.
Thank you.
Please tell us why you decided to run for district judge and what education and background you bring to the position. And you can take 2 minutes.
Well, my decision to run for district judge came from my past relationships with some great mentors, and as working as a constable for the last 9 years, I seen that there were some areas that I always wanted to say, how would I do this if I was judge? The opportunity came up for me to run, and I took a leap of faith and put my name in the hat to be selected to run for district judge. My education comes from, I worked as a Pennsylvania State Constable for 9 years. I have an associate degree in criminal justice and my experience in the field as a constable.
Is there a person or a moment in your life or some special experience that influenced you to run for district judge?
The one night I was working night court with senior judge William Hall, and anyone who knows William Hall, he always has a story to tell. And he said to me, he was like, there always needs to be a Judge Hall behind the bench. And at the time, I didn't understand what he meant by that. And after some deep contemplation, I thought about the man who he was and how he lived in the community, he served his community, he stayed visible in his community. And I do all those things now. And so I said, I believe that I know my community as best as I can know it, as anyone else, and that I know that my neighbors, I know the kids who grow up in the community, I know the places where they hang out after school, before school, and they know me. So I thought that it'd be, I could, not saying that I'm anywhere going to be a Judge Hall, but to say that I can follow in his footsteps and utilize some of the things that he's instilled in me to take on this adventure.
And what personal qualities do you have that you feel would be helpful to be an effective district judge?
Well, I've personally lived every aspect of the district judge from adolescence to adulthood. I understand the ramifications of a judge's decision, that how it can either sway a family into into a cycle of success or into a cycle of crime. I understand that as a people, we need to be able to see past all of the smoke and truly get to the individual themselves and see what the cause of effect is, why they are continuing to create these cycles or these offenses, and then see how I can utilize my resources in the community to help them to stop this behavior from continuing to happen.
Now, the area that you serve, could you describe that for our viewers so they know if they're in this particular district? We have a lot of different district judges in
Yes.
different districts. Tell us a little bit about this one so people will know if they're going to be voting for.
Well, the district goes from Penn Street, divide Penn Street in half, the side that is where the Sovereign Bank, from that side of Penn Street, all the way down to Canal Street, and then over the Bingham Street Bridge, all the way to, I want to say, to Kenhurst Boulevard is the cutoff.
So it's a pretty large area, and we're
Yes.
talking about basically the southeast.
Southeast part
Part
of
of
Reading.
Reading.
Millmont area, Oak Brook area, Wyomissing Park area, the South 7th Street area, all the way down towards the river, and then over across the bridge.
That's a good description, thank you, because it places it, at least in my mind. Now, tell us, what is the importance of this position? Why should it matter to the average voter that they'll make sure they're registered and come out to vote?
Well, the district judge, well, first and foremost, the district judge is the first line in the judicial system that most common people come in contact with. Most people do not see any judge higher than a district judge. Once you commit crimes such as murder, drugs, offenses where you have to go to the common pleas level, 90% of the time you're going to see a district judge. I also believe that the district judge is a person who is elected by the people, of the people. It's not that you have to be an attorney or you have to have this elitist status. You can be a common man and get the proper training and the education to become the district judge, and then your neighbors can elect you to represent them as the judge of the community.
Now, as a district judge, you will deal with matters of both civil law and criminal law.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you explain to our viewers the difference and maybe give some examples of each?
Criminal law is something that is when you commit an offense against society. Civil law is a matter between two individuals on a judgment on a monetary amount. So if I go out and I rob the A+, that is a criminal offense. But if I go and I receive services such as I hire a painter for my house and I'm not happy with the quality of work or they don't finish the job, that then becomes a civil matter, and I can then go to court to sue them for my disagreement on what the quality of work they gave me.
Okay. Could you explain how the district judge deals with civil cases versus criminal cases? What are the differences?
Well, so civil cases, the cases are brought before the judge. A person says, hey, I want to bring this person to court. That person has to be then served saying that you are being summoned to court because you are being sued for an amount under $12,000. Then that person then has to say, hey, I'm entering a defense. I'm entering to defend myself in this. They'll then bring both parties will bring their issues to court. The judge will then hear both sides of the argument and then make a decision on how they feel, who was wronged, and how it can be adjusted.
And for criminal law, what is the process there?
Well, criminal law, that's the difference between the police charging a defendant for breaking a law, and then that case becomes before the judge, and then the judge will listen to all the facts about that case that state has brought on this person, and then the judge will then see if there's enough evidence to convict or to bind it over to go to the common pleas level.
You know, with that, when the district judge is deciding whether there is sufficient evidence in a criminal case, what factors do you consider when making that decision?
Well, is there enough evidence? As the argument that the state is bringing before the bench prove that this person may have may have committed these crimes, and then if there's enough evidence to say, hey, this needs to go to trial, then the judge will bind it over and then send it to the common pleas level.
Okay. Now, district judges at that point could be setting bail. What criteria would you use to decide whether bail is needed? And what criteria will you use to determine how high the bail should be?
What the offense is to society, if it's a violent offense, if it has caused harm or malice to a certain individual, if there's guns or drugs that are involved, is there something where the person may have an opportunity to commit the crime again, we'll assess the bail amount. If it's something where it's a verbal argument and they need to have cooler heads to take time to have cooler heads to think about their actions, then the bail can be unsecured and allow them to have their day in court.
And we can take 2 minutes for this next question. What do you think is the most important problem in your district that would have to be handled by the district judge?
It's violence. We have babies committing crimes, murder against one another, and there's really no avenue for these children to get it out, like to understand that it doesn't we don't have to meet the expectations of the music we listen to or the older people that we hang out with. I believe that crime is really, really high. Drug addiction is really, really high. There are a lot of mentally ill people in the district that are panhandling, and we need to get a grip on that and give these folks the resources that they need to truly, truly help themselves. I believe that there's a host of blighted properties in the district. We need to get a hold of the people who are buying properties out and that don't live in the city. And we need to really go after them to say, hey, listen, we live in a historical area, and these properties need to be maintained and kept so that we all can prosper from the value of our homes. Reading is, 285 years old, and my district is one of the first established areas of the city, and it needs to be treated as that. We need to just really, really take pride in what we have and to get a handle on what we don't want in our district and take pride in it.
And we can take 2 minutes on this one, too. In Pennsylvania, judges run as a member of a political party. What is the significance of party affiliation for judgeships?
Well, once you become a judge, you have no political party. Your political party is the bench. You can run that's why judges can run on both sides of the ticket, a Republican and a Democrat. Our responsibility is to earn the votes from both parties to represent them on the bench.
Now, all the district courts throughout the city of Reading are dealing with zoning violations. And how can the district judges, when they serve in separate districts, assure fair and uniform approaches across the city? And would you favor a central court in Reading for code violations so that everybody is, it's treated the same everywhere?
Well, Reading is a unique city in itself, and some areas are majority rental property, some areas are homeowners. I believe that the properties who are used to create revenue or income from someone who doesn't live in the city, the zone need to make sure that they pay their fair share to the city and just not take away from the city. I believe that if you're a homeowner in the city, you should be given the resources to upkeep your home and to make sure that their home stays as beautiful as it is. Do I believe that there should be a central court for zoning? I believe each judge has the ability to handle their own caseload. And I believe that it would be fair because judges are going to talk about different cases and how these cases are being brought before them, and then make a decision that's going to be best suited for the community.
What community problems can the district judge help alleviate? And again, we can take 2 minutes on the rest of these. We're doing fine on time.
So one of the biggest issues that I have in my district is parking. I believe that we can come up with modern ways to assure property owners that they'll have parking in front of their house. We need to establish where we have visitors come in and just park anywhere they want, multiple cars. They need to use public parking. They use public parking garages. I believe that is a revenue stream that we're really not even tapping. I also believe that the district judge can help with making sure that landlords truly understand their rights in dealing with landlord-tenant issues. There's a lot of people who buy houses and then rent them out. I believe that there needs to be some type of licensing for a landlord to be able to rent their property out in the city. That all could go through the district justice level. I know it's a city ordinance, but it could go through the district judge's office to handle per district.
And are you involved in any volunteer or community work? And if so, please tell us about it.
I actually come from working with our youth city. I've worked in numerous agencies such as the Police Athletic League, the City Recreation, Olivet's Boys and Girls Club, Reading Youth, KTB, Kids That Ball. I truly, truly believe that the only way we're going to be able to change our situation is if we truly, truly give a generation everything that it needs to be successful. I'm also a part of the South of Penn initiative. I truly, truly care about my community, and I believe that we have to truly go back to some core values so that we can restart and push our city forward in a positive way.
As a member of the judiciary, what can you do either on the bench or off the bench to ensure that all Pennsylvanians have access to justice?
Give people the resources that they need. If the question is asked, I need to answer that question, and if I can't directly answer that question, point people in the right direction so that they can receive the answer. I'm a strong believer in that knowledge is key, and that we have to keep re-educating ourselves and educating the community on how things change. We live in a society that is rapidly speeding up in technology, and so the district justice needs to stay ahead with the times and be able to offer the citizens the information that they need as soon as we receive it.
Thank you. And we've got time for a closing statement. You may take as long as you need.
I really would like to thank you for inviting me to this forum. I believe that I am a lifelong community servant of the city of Reading, and I believe that I am someone who has the temperament, the empathy to truly affect change in the district court level. I also understand that people sometimes need to have their day in court. I would like to truly instill that concept in everyone. You do not have to be afraid to come to my court. Please come, have your day in court, be heard, and then at the end of that, I'm going to make a decision. That decision first is going to put the safety and the well-being of the Commonwealth first, and then it's going to be able to go to the second part, is that the defendant. We need to make sure that we uphold each other and lift each other up. And I believe that the district justice in a modern day could do that with the proper person behind the bench. I truly, truly love the city of Reading, and I see great things coming for us, and I just believe that we need to have the right people in place for that to happen. I believe that I am the right person for this position. Before the lights came on, I've always served my community, and even when the lights go off, I will continue to serve my community in any aspect that it needs me in.
Thank you. This is Ryan Cooper, and he is running for Magisterial District Court in District 23201, and that is in the southeast section of Reading. And we appreciate, Mr. Cooper, you're giving us your qualifications and your philosophy to be the district judge.
Thank you very much.
Viewers, I want you to remember that the municipal primary election is May 18th. You must be registered by May 3rd to vote in the May 18th election. And if you're going to your polling place, polls are open from 7 in the morning to 8 at night. And you may vote at your polling place, or you may vote by absentee or mail-in ballot. And the last day to apply for one of these paper ballots is May 11th. And all paper ballots must be returned to the County Board of Elections by 8 p.m. on Election Day. Now, this is a municipal primary election. A municipal election is when we select candidates for local office as well as statewide judges. It's a big election, and most important to how we govern ourselves locally. This is where we elect school board directors. The biggest tax we pay is to support our schools. It's important to our children that we have good schools, so it's a very important time to vote. And like you've heard in this broadcast, it is also important we're voting for judges, and we'll be electing members of many other things, and I will go through those in just a moment. But this year there's something special on our ballot, and that is amendments to our Pennsylvania Constitution. And all voters are encouraged to vote on these. You do not need to be a member of a political party to vote on our Constitution. Our Constitution belongs to every citizen, and every citizen who is registered to vote should be there to vote on it. But to vote for the candidates, like you heard speaking today, you do need to be a Democrat or a Republican, because a primary election is when those parties select their candidates. Now, we have several things on the ballot at the state level, as I said, and those are some judges that rule statewide. So we'll be electing one justice of the Supreme Court. And Pennsylvania's Supreme Court writes the rules for all the courts, the judges, and the court attorneys. It's the final court of appeal and hears 3,000 appeals yearly. It is also the oldest one in the United States. It was established in 1784. And we will be electing one judge of the Superior Court. The Superior Court hears cases on appeal. So if something has been at the district judge level, it then goes to the Court of Common Pleas if there's an appeal, and then it goes to the Superior Court. And this court has 14 judges, 5 senior judges, and they meet usually in a panel of 3 judges in either Harrisburg, Pittsburgh, or Philadelphia. We'll also be electing 2 judges of the Commonwealth Court. Now, Commonwealth Court is something unique to Pennsylvania. It hears matters involving state and local governments and regulatory agencies. It has 9 judges and 3 senior judges. So if you have an issue with another government in Pennsylvania, your township, your borough, your city, that case could end up at the Commonwealth Court. We will also be electing 2 judges of the Court of Common Pleas for Berks County. Now, these are our local trial courts. They handle civil, they handle criminal matters, and Berks is one district in the state, and it has 13 judges. And then, as we heard in today's program, we'll be voting for judges in 6 different magisterial districts. These courts set and accept bail and hold preliminary hearings. They determine if criminal cases should go to the Court of Common Pleas. They deal with traffic tickets, landlord-tenant issues, and small claims, up to $12,000. And within Berks County, we have 18 of these magisterial districts. They serve a 6-year term, and so we vote on 6 people every other year, and that fills out the terms. And you may notice on your ballot, some judicial candidates are up for retention. Now, the judges, other than the magisterial ones, serve a 10-year term. Then, instead of running for re-election, they are on the ballot unopposed. Voters may choose to retain them for another 10 years by voting yes, or they may vote no and put that judge out of office. Now, also on the ballot are 3 county officials, our county treasurer, our coroner, and our pathonetary, and we'll be voting on a constable for each voting district. Now, in each of our voting districts, Democrats and Republicans will select candidates for school boards for 4- and 2-year terms. Some districts select their boards at large, some do it by regions. And in the city of Reading, voters will choose candidates for city council president and city council members in districts 1, 4, and 5. In townships, they will select commissioners or supervisors and auditors and tax collectors. In boroughs, voters will select mayors, council members, auditors, and tax collectors. It is a big election. There is a lot on this ballot and a lot that is important to how we govern ourselves and to things that happen in our personal lives. Now, I should note that candidates for judge and district justice and school director may cross file. That means they may run as both Democrats and Republicans. And as we've heard from several of the candidates, once they're elected, that party designation goes away. They are judges and justices, and that's that. Now, to vote, as I said, you must be registered by May 3rd. So to register to vote, or to check your registration status, or to request one of those mail-in ballots, go to votespa.com. That's VOTESPA.com. And for information on the ballot questions, or the actual ballot that you will be seeing when you go to vote, go to vote411.org. That's VOTE411.org. Or the League of Women Voters will be hosting a program on the second Tuesday in April that is discussing those ballot questions. So you will want to turn at 8 p.m. the second Tuesday in April to hear some experts talk about those ballot questions. And if you have any election class questions and you would prefer to talk to a live person, and that can be in English or in Spanish, phone Berks County Election Services. Their phone number is 610-478-6490. That's 610-478-6490. Election Services can send you the application for an absentee or mail-in ballot, and they will gladly answer all your questions about the election. And please, continue to watch BCTV for more candidate upfront interviews and the information about those constitutional amendments that will be on your ballot. For the League of Women Voters, I'm Judith Cranis. Good day.
We make about 45 million pounds of chips in a quarter. That equates to about 200 million pounds of potatoes, which is quite a few. What's interesting with M&T is they were a small town bank, and as we've grown, they've also grown with us. They've got the resources that you would need in order to go big, but they also have that friendly local community feel so that it makes it seem easier than it probably is.